Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. I'm your host, Derek Champagne. Today, I'm excited about our guest. We've got Mike Caprari. He is the co-founder and the SVP of marketing for SJC Custom Drums. Mike, welcome to the program today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So I have been a musician for most of my life, was in bands with my parents traveling. I love hearing music stories and hearing stories of products in the music world that have made it. You guys have something really cool. I've talked to some of my drummer buddies about interviewing you, and they were pretty excited because you've got such a world-class product that you offer. Can you tell me how you got started? Tell me about being a kid and how you had this odd, interesting passion to make drums. What got you started on that at an early age?
Yeah, it's weird. My brother is the one who had the passion to actually make drums. I just wanted to make something cool. I had we were both entrepreneurs in different ways where, we grew up around music, just loving music. And I remember getting this 311 CD when I was 9 years old, and Chad Sexton's drumming just intrigued me. And I was like, I got to be a drummer. So my parents got me a drum set for Christmas that year, and the typical drummer story, you get a drum set for Christmas, and my brother played the saxophone and the keyboard and just every instrument, and he got a drum set after I got mine. Being brothers, I was like, you can't touch my drums, you gotta get your own. So he did, and pulled a kit from our cousin's attic, and it was old, beat up, just some old drum set. Nothing like a really nice Ludwig or Rogers kit or anything. It was just like a couple $100 drum set. He refurbished it and spray painted the hardware and stained it and rewrapped it and kept making it look cool. And that intrigued both of us. Where I was like, wait, you can make drums that aren't just red or blue or black or white, from the store. And I was like, that's really cool. And he got into, what if I cut a different bearing edge, or what if I put different hoops on this drum, or what can I do to make the drum sound different? So I think both of our interests were kind of sparked at that point. We were really young, 13, 14, 15 years old. And our hobby, it was just a hobby then. He was just refurbishing drums for friends and bands around town and stuff. And when the internet became a thing, I started to reach out to bands that I liked listening to on MySpace or whatever. And before we knew it, and it seems like in a blink of an eye, all of a sudden we've got our drums are on MTV, and bands are calling us to make them drums, and we're an actual business. And I was like, how did that happen?
Wow.
It seemed like it was overnight. Our hobby turned into our business. It was very quick, and we were really young, and we learned from our mistakes for many, many years.
So tell me, when was the moment that who was the first name that you looked up to as a hero that contacted you guys that you did not know they were playing your drums?
Well, that wasn't until recently, when we got Trey Cole from Green Day to play our drums. That for me was just the holy crap. I thought for so long. I remember being 15 and seeing Green Day at a church, and I just wanting to meet him as a kid and a fan. And now he called to play our drums, and that was just that was mind blowing for me. And the fact that he actually does play our drums now, and we're friends and we talk, and we're making him. We make him drums often. It's just it's insane. That's
so cool. He can play any drums he wants. He can be sponsored by any drum company he wants. And so for him to pick yours, that says a lot about your product.
Yeah, and what's really cool, and what we pride ourselves on, obviously we pride ourselves on our product. If you don't have a great product, it's very hard to, have a business and be successful. But beyond that, we truly do care about our drummers, whether it's Trey Cool or you're picking up your first drum set or your parents are buying you a kit. We treat all of our drummers exactly the same, and we have a relationship with all of our drummers. And that's what's really cool to me. Like you just said, Trey could play any drum company he wants, but he plays SJC. And it's but it's more than that. Him and I talk more not about drums than we do about drums. You know, we'll call each other and, you know, we'll go out when he's out in Boston or I'm out on the West Coast. We'll hang out and like I hang out with our drummers and we'll go to see them at their shows or whatever. And it's more than just we make you a drum set, go away, call us when you need a new one. It's a lot more than that. It's that family dynamic that we give our drummers, and I feel like that's very important. You know, equally as much as the quality of the product.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm looking on your website at your featured artists. I guess these are ones that are with your kits, right?
Yep.
You've got drummer that's played with Imagine Dragons, 21 Pilots, Slipknot, Eric Church, Newfound Glory, Rancid, and about 5 more pages of recognizable drummers. That's incredible.
We've got some phenomenal drummers playing our drums, and it's very cool knowing that they support SJC like they do. And the same thing that I just mentioned, you know, we're personal friends with all those guys, and you know, some of their families and stuff. And it's really cool. It's really a lot of businesses say, hey, you know, join our family or whatever. And it's kind of become a cliche, but we truly mean it when we say join our family. Like we're a straight up family atmosphere at SJC. So
that's awesome. So I imagine you're getting to go to some pretty cool shows then too.
Yeah. Oh my God, man! I've been to. It's a definitely very cool perk of the job for sure. You know, you get to go see. I've seen Slipknot like 13 times in the past 2 years now. We started making drums for them, and it's just like it's so cool. Not only to see the show, but like looking up there and seeing the drums that we spend so much time and like blood, sweat, and tears building. Seeing them up there come to life and like knowing that the drummer's so stoked on them is there's nothing like it.
I can't imagine what that's like. It must be an amazing feeling. So you guys go from being kids.
It really is.
So did you grow up around the Boston area?
Yeah, we grew up in a really small town. I'm actually in Boston right now, but we're like an hour outside of Boston, right on the border of Connecticut. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that had a lot of, I think, you know, I feel like a lot of, it's true, a lot of businesses in the music industry are on the West Coast. And, you know, we were in a small little farm town in Massachusetts, but we're an hour from Boston, an hour from Providence, 2 or 3 hours from New York, you know, 2 hours from Albany. So anytime a tour came around when I was a kid, I was there. Like Warped Tour, any of the bands I liked, I was at like 2 or 3 of their shows. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door with like management and the drummers. I would always be at the shows as a fan, and then, you know, we started talking about drums while my brother and I were making them, and I was like, I'll try out one of your drum sets, sure. And it was just, you know, friends making drums for friends, and it was really cool how it grew. You
guys go from getting the music bug and pimping out your own first set of drums and getting creative with it, and then you're on this whirlwind where you're making drums for the top bands around the world. I first saw you guys on the TV show CNBC, The Prophet, and thought you had a really cool product. And so cool. Tell me about some of the journey to get to where you are now. You mentioned there's a lot of learning that happened, and we don't like to focus on failure ever, but we like to learn from it. And wonder if there's some things that you learned along the way that you don't mind sharing as far as how you've dealt with challenges or setbacks that stand out to you along the way.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and like every day, and that, like you said, you know, you don't want to focus on the failures, but those are what make you better. And like in the businesses that make it, and I talk to so many young aspiring drummers or musicians that are just like, oh, I want to be like Green Day or this band or 21 Pilots. They got big so fast, and it's like they toured in a van as well. They made mistakes. They put out bad songs or bad records, and they've learned from their mistakes as well. And that's what separates successful, whatever you're in, whatever business or music industry you're in. That's what separates the successful people from the people that aren't successful, because when you fail, you get up back on your 2 feet and you keep going and you push forward and you learn from that mistake and you don't do it again.
Right.
And that's the difference. And, you know, we started making drums in my grandma's basement, and we had a couple employees, and we had a small factory, and then we had 15 employees in a much bigger factory. Always have a plan. You know, Marcus on The Prophet, you know, we're so fortunate to have been picked for that show and been able to, you know, become business partners with Marcus. And, you know, I've learned so much from him, and just never be afraid to learn and admit your mistakes, because you can always learn from somebody, even somebody half your age you can learn from. I learn from my little cousin all the time. You know, it's like, always be open for change, and don't be too proud or stubborn to learn and change your ways, because in the business world, you've always got to be on your toes and ready to learn, ready to make that next move. And, you know, we grew pretty quickly, like I said, it was like in the blink of an eye, it seems. I was 15 and now I'm 30, and it's just like we've learned so much from them. But always have a plan, and like I was saying, like I learned from Marcus, his whole thing is people, process, and product. And like I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a good product, keep refining it, because that's what's going to separate you. But your people are super important. Surround yourself with successful people that you can also learn from and that are better than you. And have a process. And that's the one thing that I've learned since being on that show, and I think you can see it pretty clearly. Our shop was a mess. We didn't have any processes, and that is really what affected our bottom line. And since we were on the profit, and since we teamed up with Marcus and really have focused on our process, we've gone from 12 months. It took us between 10 and 12 months to make a drum set, and now we're making them in a week.
Wow.
So if that doesn't show you that process is important, I don't know what does.
That's amazing. And you're offering the different price ranges too, right?
Yep. So that falls under the product. We were just focusing on the the high end, sky's the limit custom drums that people were kind of scared. They're like, man, I could $5,000 for a drum set. I can't afford that, but we can actually make a drum set for $1,000. We just weren't really promoting that. And now that, my eyes are open to that, I was like, oh wow, like it seems like such a duh moment, but I was so focused on all the other things. It's easy to be distracted as an entrepreneur, and I was very distracted by a lot of different things. And now that we have those, the people, process, product thing that Marcus taught us, teaches on his show, it's been rocking and rolling for sure.
So you really do. I mean, you really live out that mantra for your own business to keep from getting distracted.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I had taken steps. Chris, you probably saw on the show, who's a partner in the business now.
Yes.
He came on about 3.5 years ago, and he's got a couple MBAs, and he's an engineer and just a straight business mind. Where I was more of the vision and creative entrepreneur type. I don't have a degree or anything like that. So Chris first opened my eyes to like a different way of thinking and communicating better and being a better business owner. So that kind of prepped me for meeting Marcus. Neither of us knew it, but I probably would have gotten eaten alive if Chris didn't kind of teach me the things that he taught me before I met Marcus.
Wow.
So it's been a very long and fun learning experience for me, but I've been very open and receptive to it. Like I want to learn, and that I feel like it makes you be a better entrepreneur and a better business person.
So tell me about, it's got to be challenging. I'm a small business owner myself, to have either your dirty laundry or to have, if you have a mess in your warehouse. I mean, cameras, we produce some videos here. Cameras show everything. And I know editing changed everything, and I'm sure they edit for entertainment value and things like that. But
they were looking for it. They were looking for the messes and the dirty laundry. So, I knew it going in.
Oh my goodness!
I knew it.
Oh my goodness! And how? I mean, and yours had its set of challenges that you talked about. But man, how do you go on national television like that? And tell me about the experience for you. Was it easy for you? Did you cringe? I mean, what did you go through yourself?
It was really hard, man. And people ask me that. They've seen the show, and whether I'm close with them or I see them at the airport, and they're like, "Oh, you were on that show, The Profit." I think it's cool either way, because I'm not too proud to show my mistakes and the wrong things that I've done, and I've got integrity either way. And yes, I can be embarrassed about the things that I've done poorly in the business, but I want to learn from them. And if I can also learn from them while showing somebody what not to do, I think that's really cool. Because I watch Shark Tank, and I watch like Cake Boss and Restaurant Startup and Profit Off. Other shows, and I learn from the things that I see on those shows. And we're in a new age where like these shows are so new. Like 5 years ago, entrepreneurship wasn't televised. It wasn't like cool to be an entrepreneur. So those shows taught me a lot, and the fact that people can watch the show and see and go, do not do what Mike Caprari did for SJC drums. Like that's okay with me. That's okay. I'm not too proud to say, I made a mistake, because I've made plenty of mistakes in this business, and I've learned from them all, and I've learned more in the past year than I have really ever, and that's really cool for me. And if someone else can learn from that and not make the mistakes that I did, then I feel like I did a little bit of good in the world, even though like it was very hard and emotional, very emotional for me to do the show and
Right.
put my dirty laundry out there, but I was never too proud to do it, and I think that's a big thing too. Kind of put your pride and your ego aside, and just never be afraid to learn and admit your mistakes. I think that's really important.
That's really good. Thanks for sharing that. You've said a couple of things that really stand out to me for leadership development. One is to hire people or to be around people that are smarter than you or that you can learn from, and also to be willing to learn from mistakes and to get better. And I think a lot of times what I've seen in some products and services and leaders that they hit their peak is because they're not willing to do those two things. So you to be able to continue to grow, you've got to be able to do those two things. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that.
100%. Absolutely. And I can't even take credit for that. You know, Marcus is people that we work with, and Chris, who's my business partner now at SJC, I'm so thankful for to have. It's like, you know, those, and my dad's taught me a lot over the course of running the business, and that's why having smart people that are better than you and smarter than you and have different ideas it's so important. You know, there's no I in team. You can't just be a one-man show. There's plenty of one-man operations out there as far as businesses go, but I'm sure that they have, if they're successful, they've got people around them as mentors or advisors or whatever you want to call them. That's one of the most important things for sure.
So tell me a little bit about, you're the senior vice president of marketing for your company. Tell me a little bit about not necessarily your marketing strategy, but what have you found to be effective? What are you guys doing? Is your viral value is very powerful. I'm sure that things like the Profit have really propelled you in having endorsements or having these notable drummers play. But tell me some things that might be different that might interest us from social media or new technology you're using. Just what can you share with us?
Yeah. I mean, people ask me that a lot, and it's we're very proud of you know, the followers we have on our social media. And it's all organic. We've never paid for advertising on social media or for any like bots or anything to get us people. The people that follow us are truly engaged, and that's important to us. Whether we have 10 followers or, you know, 500,000 followers, as long as they're following us because they want to, that's what's important. And it's a very grassroots. We've always been very DIY. Like, I come from like a punk rock background where like I was in a punk band, like making flyers at Kinko's and passing around at school and stuff like that, and just networking and word of mouth. That's so powerful, because if you make somebody happy with your product and the service and the experience, they're going to tell their friends, and their friends are going to buy something from you, and then they're going to tell their friends, and it's going to be a spider web of products and sales that you can make from that. And same thing with social media. We interact with all of our fans on our comments and liking stuff and following them back and everything like that, and that's really important. And there's a guy out there, Gary Vaynerchuk. He wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. That was amazing. And he calls out, he says it like it is, and he's very in tune with social media and the fact that there's a lot of businesses out there that try, but they fail because they don't really know what they're doing. They're like, oh, we're going to be on Facebook. Let's just be on Facebook. But it's a lot of work, and you've got to actually promote and do the things that people want to see and be engaged with. But it's not shoving it down their throat. It's making it organic, where they actually want to listen to what you're saying and connect with you that way. And I still, I grew up in that generation where MySpace was a thing, and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and now Snapchat. And same thing. We hired a guy named Ricky, and he's phenomenal. He's very in tune with all of that and knows more than I do. Like, when Snapchat came out, he's like, we got to get on Snapchat. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that is, but dude, if you think it's important, go with it, and he kills it. You know, we sell drums on Snapchat, and it's free. We don't have to pay. You know, there's so many free platforms out there that you can take advantage of. We're in an age where, like, there's so many different ways to get in touch with people, and other businesses contact me like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. We're just doing it. Like, I'm just showing people what we do and putting our pictures of our products and interacting with people. I'm not leaving them high and dry. Like, that's very important, and not a lot of people get it. And it's kind of frustrating to see, because it seems so simple to get, but I don't know. We're just doing our thing and enjoying doing it.
I think what you said is really important. It's about engagement, and so it doesn't matter how many followers you have if they're not engaging with your product. In fact, they're not really even going to see you if they're not engaging. Facebook, over 314,000 engaged followers is not too shabby.
Right, yeah, and like when they comment, we'll comment back and we'll talk to them, and then one of us will add them on our personal Facebooks and be like, hey, what's up, man? And like our sales guys will talk to them and be friends with them, and then eventually when they're in the market for a drum set, they're going to get a drum set from us because we're friends with them and they feel comfortable, and they're just that, we're friends with them and they know we're going to take care of them. That's really important. In a lot of businesses I do a lot of research and stuff like that, and I try and see what other businesses are doing to get ideas, or just what I talked about earlier, what not to do. And there's businesses who it's just like, it's like clockwork. It's like every day at 3:00, you just think you have to put up a random photo to be active on social media, but it's doing nothing for you.
Right.
It's you got to engage, and there's so many ways to engage, and people want to be engaged with. Everybody's connected to their phone. So it's a great time to be activating on social media.
And I love that you're commenting. I love that you've got customer-centric focus and you're actually engaging. I see how the brands, we work with some brands that we've had to hold their hand a little bit, and they're being talked about. We've got one brand in particular that's internationally recognized, and they're talked about. It's not them even generating the content. We've just seen so many that still don't go out there and engage, even though you have a chance to be part of the conversation. People are already talking about it. Imagine how powerful that is when you actually step in and talk back with them. You're going to buy again.
Right.
They're going to buy from you.
Yeah, exactly. It brings your product to life because, like I said earlier, we're not just drums. Like the vibe and our culture and our values and our mission statement and everything that goes along with it, we truly back it all up. And you can put a picture of a really cool car or a really cool drum set or guitar, whatever it is, online. But if you don't engage with those people and make that experience really cool, they're probably not going to buy it from you because they're going to find somebody else to buy it from.
Right.
Because there's always the thing in business that I've learned, like my whole entire career of doing this, is there's always somebody that's going to outwork you. There's always somebody that's going to be more creative or thinking of something else. So, being an entrepreneur, it's just you kind of sign yourself up for working the 80, 90, 100-hour-a-week shifts forever.
Right.
And you just got to do it and always stay active and always stay engaged. And that's what I think is so fun about being an entrepreneur, is it's just in my DNA where I've just got that buzz to just always be going.
Yes.
And, it makes it fun.
And you really have to, because with rare exception, there are products that stand the test of time, but you have to stay hungry and stay motivated and customer focused and in growth mode.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's all about scale, but if you're not growing, then you do start to fall back or get lazy or get fat cat syndrome or lose your motivation. And as entrepreneurs, as we're creating things, when you achieve a certain level of success, you can lose your passion sometimes. It really is important to keep that motivation and passion going. And I've seen some that don't understand, that think it's greed and those kinds of things, and it can be sometimes. But I think for the majority of us, that's just like you said, in our DNA.
Right. You want to do more, you want to do better, and it's not, for me, honestly, like, no lie, it's never been about money. Like you saw it on the profit. Like we hadn't been profitable in many, many years.
Right.
And I've had accountants be like, why are you doing this? Just stop. And I'm like, no, like I feel like we're making a difference. I'm enjoying what we're doing. People like our product. Drummers there are drummers out there that have our logo tattooed on them. Like, I cannot just I'm not just going to give up. Like, I'll keep doing this until I can't anymore. I don't know what I would do next, but I never even thought of that. And it's gotten us through some of that, like being ignorant and naive, I think got us through some of the tough times, but, you gotta learn sometime and figure it out. But we were able to fortunately get through those tough times.
Well, yeah, ignorant, naive, or passionate and perseverance, and just a commitment to what you love. And I think a lot of times, and I interviewed someone recently that said it should never be about the money. And I hear people say that sometimes, but it was interesting how they approached it. And they only take on projects that are interesting to them, or that have something for greater good, or that they can pass on. And the money is never the first. Or just making a profit is never what it's about first. So.
Right. And I mean, for us too, it's like we make custom drums. There are plenty of drums out there that you can get at the store, or that aren't, crazy custom like that we make. We're making a product that is not a necessity. The stuff that we make, people, just want it for whatever reason, or they have the money to get it or whatever. We're definitely not a necessity. And there are new people, new babies born every day, and hopefully they're going to be drummers and stuff like that. But our goal is to just make a difference in the music industry and inspire people to start a business or inspire people to play music because it brings people together. You know, music is the universal language, and for us to be even a small part of the music industry and helping people and changing the world through music is honestly what keeps us going, and is what kept me going through all those tough years of running a small business.
Well, I'm glad you stuck with it. You've got an awesome product, and I think it's really cool that you get to, as a musician, that you get to also live and live and do your business and your music at the same time. That's fun.
Definitely, and that, like I said, money aside, money pays the bills and stuff like that. But if you're not doing what you love, go find something that you love and do it, and find your passion and make it your job. Or plenty of people have passions on the side, but mine just happens to be my job as well. And that's pretty cool for me. It's like I'm pretty stoked with how everything worked out.
Anything else you want to share about your journey that might be beneficial to our listeners who are at various stages of their business life cycle?
Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Because, like I said, I've had plenty of people that said, you can't, you're dumb, you shouldn't be doing this. But follow your dreams and follow your passion, and go out there and do it. Be inspired by people. Watch shows like The Prophet and Shark Tank and learn from guys like Marcus and stuff like that.
Yes.
But don't just sit there and hope. You have to actually take action and do it. And that's hard for a lot of people, is taking that first step and taking those many, many steps after that. But you're going to fall a lot, and a lot of people think that, you see successful people and you're like, man, that must be nice. But trust me, they've been on a journey for many, many years where they've fallen flat on their face and they got back up. So Don't be too proud to make mistakes and learn from them and admit them. That, I feel like, gives you thicker skin and makes you a better person in the end. So if anybody has any questions for entrepreneurship, hit me up on SJC's Twitter or shoot me an email or whatever. I'd love to hear about what you guys are doing, and if I can help in any way, I would love to.
Mike, that's very kind. I've got consultants I work with in various ways, but my favorite people to learn from really are stories like yours, where you've been through it and you've seen the valleys and you've seen the peaks, and you've had lean years, you've had great years, and you continue to innovate and develop, and you're passionate. And that's the American success story to me, and it's just one of my favorite examples of entrepreneurship. So I truly appreciate you being our guest today, man. I love your product. I'm going to put in to get my own set of drums here pretty soon too. We appreciate you, and let us know if we can ever do anything else for you too.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you having me on the show and asking all these great questions and doing what you guys do. Like I said, entrepreneurship is, I feel like, obviously there's entrepreneurs been for the test of time, but I think it's cooler now to be an entrepreneur, and there's a lot more of a camaraderie when people are entrepreneurs and talking like we just did, and learning from it and sharing mistakes and your shortcomings and your wins and your fails. And I think that's really cool. So keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you having me on the show and asking those great questions. So thank you so much. Thanks,
Mike. You take care.
All right, you as well. Thanks.
All right, bye.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Take a 5-minute complimentary marketing assessment for your business. Whether you're a startup or an established brand looking for more quality customers for your business, this confidential assessment will help you identify the next logical steps for appropriate marketing tools, strategy, and development for making sure your branding and marketing campaign is a success. Visit AssessMyMarketing.com today. That's AssessMyMarketing.com.